Alright, I'm Miss Danziger, and this is my adventure education philosophy, or what I believe in. So I'm going to go get my adventure education toolbox. Alright, here's my adventure education toolbox. In here are all the things that I believe in as a physical education adventure ed teacher. So, to start off with, the book talked about a parallel process, and it talked about letting the students know that you care about them, and that if you care about them, they'll care about you, and kind of it just working both ways. It's process-oriented, and we want our students to be able to replicate what we are teaching. So, for them to follow in our direction, and then almost take the lead sometimes as well. I don't know why I'm so nervous, but I'm nervous. Alright, next one in our toolbox is the 3 leadership responsibilities that the book also talked about. So being responsible for our students, so being accountable, being on time, knowledgeable for our students, and then also being prepared, knowing our information, and then also having all the equipment ready for our students, and just overall being responsible for our classroom and our students. Being effective is the second responsibility for leadership in our classroom, and then we want to keep our students engaged and also have student learning. So in order for us to be effective, we have to assess our students throughout and make sure that they are learning while in our classroom. We want to listen to our students to make sure we are effective. So ask them how they think they're doing, ask them how they think we are doing as a teacher, and then pilot or change as we are going on as well. So then the last one is the psychological leadership role, and we want to be a leader and enthusiastic with our students. We want to make sure that we're having fun to make sure that they're having fun. Ask them and then respond when you do ask them questions. So don't just ask them a question and then be like, all right, okay, and then move on. Respond to what you ask them, and my cat's running around right now. And then respond to what they say. Next up, we have plan, plan, plan. As an adventure educator, we need to plan in advance. We need to plan supplies, we need to plan safety, we need to plan transportation. There's so much planning that goes into adventure education. I wouldn't say that you can ever be too prepared or too pre-planned for a trip, because there's so much that goes into adventure education that we need to be prepared for everything. So, like I said, plan, plan, plan. All right. Next is practice as a teacher. As a teacher, we need to be prepared. We need to practice everything that we're going to do beforehand, whether it be camping or hiking on a trail. Make sure you go on the trail beforehand. Make sure there's no obstacles that the students can't handle, and problem solve as you go as well. The day of your trip, your canoeing, anything that you do, there may be things that you may not have planned for, so make sure there are ways that you can problem solve while you're on your day of trip. Things change, so just be prepared throughout. Next up in our toolbox is I want to be first aid certified and be able to know how to dress wounds, do CPR. I have had CPR certification, but as of right now, it has expired for the 2 years. So I would have to be recertified before I do any of these classes, just to be prepared and be able to handle any situation that may come about. And then also the risk management plans that we looked at in the previous chapter talked about, or it had the survey at the end. Had talked about like student allergies. So know your student allergies, know your students, know if they have asthma, if they have diabetes. Just know those things before you're going into these trips, because those could be fatal in the long run if you don't know about them and know how to react and to treat them. So know about those, know first aid, know what you're getting into. Next is know your students. Kind of goes along with what I just said with the first aid. Know your students and what they have going on. But get to know them, ask them questions. Ask them what they want to know in the class, what they want to learn, what they already know, and what they want to take away from the class. Because if you are meeting the needs and the wants of the students, they'll be so much more engaged in interacting, gain their trust, and also trust them. So get to know your students and be able to work with them as they are to work with you. All right, next off is promote teamwork and individualization. So we want our students to be able to work alone and work with a group. Get them to know how a group dynamic works. We want our students to be able to be leaders, but we also want them to be followers. We want them to be able to listen and work with others, communicate, and then when they are working on their own and individual, they want to work on their self-esteem and their confidence, and it kind of goes along with the 4 domains of the adventure outcome domains that we talked about again in the previous chapter, with the physical and thinking skills, the positive values and spiritual values, and then also the positive identity kind of goes along with the confidence and the self-esteem, and then the social skills. So that kind of goes along with the teamwork. They both kind of fill in with the individual and group dynamics. They kind of have like 2 of each. So I want my students to be able to feel confident with a group and on their own in adventure education. All right. Next up, I want to create choice and decision making for my students. I want them to have choices through me. I want to give them multiple options to choose from while they're in class, whether the day on the water they get to go canoeing or kayaking. I want them to be able to do both, but maybe have like a choice for that day, whether like say they like one more than the other. Have choice for them. And then I want to promote decision making, but also good decision making, not just decision making. We want them to make healthy choices and also relate it to health or anything like that. So making decisions about drugs and alcohol or healthy behaviors, just making good decisions, whether it be in adventure ed or just in life in general. So promote good decision making and good choices for the students. All right, use the students. We want to be able to use our students and learn from them. So they may know more than you in a subject like climbing. I don't know much about rock climbing. I hope to learn more in this class. But I may learn more from my students that are very advanced rock climbers, and they may give me pointers, and also listen to them because they may be more knowledgeable than you are. So use them as a resource, and then also give them feedback. Respond positively, let them give you feedback, and then also respond positively. Make changes. Also tell them why that you are choosing to do the things that you are doing. Give them reasons, and then make changes if necessary. All right. And then next is technologies. I believe in old school technology and new school technology. So when we are out doing a camping or a hike trip or something and technology fails, I want my students to be able to use old school technology in a case of emergencies. So using the sun for time and direction, where it is up in the sky, so they aren't just reliant on their phone that may die or their GPS systems that batteries might die. Also carry like paper maps. Paper maps are always going to be there no matter what. So just keeping those kind of old school and new school technologies, just make sure they know how to use both, because sometimes you can't rely on only one way. And also technology can be very expensive. So kind of depends on what your school can afford. I hope to, have GPSs and teach my students how to use that, but not always that your school can afford that and use those kind of technology pieces. Using computers, look up, like we said, talked about earlier, plan, plan, plan. So in your planning, look up those maps that might help you. I know a lot of national parks, you can look up maps, print them off beforehand, take those with you on any kind of hike, camping trip for your safety. All right, good judgment. So as a teacher, we have to make all the choices, and we want to make safe and good choices that protect not only us, but our students as well. Because our students are our main priority, but we also have to protect ourselves and the school district for anything that may occur. All right. So this is the last one, role model for our students. We want to be the #1 role model for our students. We want to make those good choices that we talked about. We want to have good judgment. We want to make good decision making. We want to role model the skills. So we want to be knowledgeable of any skill that we are teaching, rock climbing. I don't know much now, but I plan to learn a lot more before I plan on teaching any student how to rock climb. Backpacking, camping, hiking, canoeing, all those things we want to know a lot more about before we teach them, and we want to be able to be so knowledgeable about them that we aren't liable for anything that may happen. We want to role model good behaviors for our students, problem solving, day of, problems happen, so just be able to react with those and be able to problem solve in a positive manner. Students are sponges, so they're going to collect any information that we give them. So just make it be good knowledge and be a good role model so our sponges can only collect the good germs. All right, I am Ms. Danziger, and this is my Adventure Education Toolbox.